What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the Paras, Men of War. The recruits face up to grueling bayonet exercises. This video was recommended to me by a subscriber a while back, and I'm finally getting around to checking it out. At first, I didn't understand what the Paras were, but it turns out the Paras are the parachute regiment for the British Army. And I really haven't reacted to much about the British military up until this point. And so I thought this would be a really interesting video to kind of dive in and learn something about the British Army, specifically the parachute regiment. I also thought the description sounded kind of interesting. I'll just go ahead and tell you what it said. Only 27 of the original 40 recruits, all known as Joe, to remove their civilian identities, remain as the platoon reaches a third of the way through its training course. Corporal Ollie Sill taking them into bayonet exercises on the most demanding and punishing infantry course in the world. So basically, I'm not really sure if this is boot camp for these guys, or is this a separate training course after they've gone through boot camp at some point. Please let me know in the comment section if this is boot camp or if it's just a different type of training after they've graduated from boot camp at some point. But it's interesting. I'm thinking because they're saying that they are all known as Joe to remove their civilian identities. I'm guessing this has to be boot camp. This must be boot camp for the parachute regiment of the British Army. And I am really interested now because it says this is the most demanding and punishing infantry course in the world. Obviously, that sounds pretty intense to say the least. But anyways, guys, I just thought this would be interesting. So don't really know what to expect. But let's just go ahead and dive in and check out the Paras, Men of War. The recruits face up to grueling bayonet exercises.
Paratroopers are designed to kill Joe. This is your job. This is what you've chosen to do. You want to close and kill the enemy and bayonet him in the face. He wants to kill and behead British soldiers. You gonna let that happen? No, bro. You gonna let that happen? No, bro. Who's got it about them to close up and kill the enemy? Who's got the bollocks, Joe? Who's got the minerals to get amongst it? Who wants to be a paratrooper? What makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. Joe, this is what we're all about. Closing and killing with the enemy. This is what paratroopers are designed to do.
If you haven't got 100% aggression and you don't want to go in and do that job, then you'll get killed.
That's very true. Wow. That's pretty intense,
on the other end of that, there's another person with 100% aggression. So your aggression has got to outmatch his aggression, and you've got to be able to take it to him. He's going to kill you, or you're going to kill him. Simple as. It's down the middle, black and white. So the more aggression you've got, that's going to aid you in taking his life.
Wait, so they actually put a red fluid in here to represent blood, man. That's pretty crazy detail. Wow, they're really trying to get people into that aggressive state, I guess. And I find it interesting that they call them all Joe. I mean, it makes sense because you're trying to break down their singular civilian identity and turn them into one unit of, you know, soldiers that will be very aggressive when they need to be, and they will come together as a unit to fight for one another. And that makes a lot of sense. But this is wild, man. I wouldn't have expected they would actually have, you know, some sort of red fluid to represent blood. That's kind of crazy.
You need to show it. You need to have that about you. And if he's as aggressive as you, then you've got a fight in your hand.
On guard! On guard! High port! High port! On guard! On guard!
I'm 17 and I'm the youngest bloke in the platoon.
17, wow.
I did some work experience with the army, and I was initially I wanted to go to the Marines. She said, "Why don't you join the Paras? They're better." And I thought, who are the Paras? I knew who paratroopers were, but so I looked into it and thought, yeah, it's definitely for me. It's the hardest training you can do. I want a bit of that.
I am originally from Afghanistan. I grew up in a war zone. There were fightings, there were gunshots every day on the road going on. And that was basically my childhood, growing up to that.
32. Wow, he's a little bit older.
Dead bodies and killings from an early stage of that age.
By the way, what is the age range that you can join the military in the UK? Here, I believe they actually raised it recently in the last few years. I think you can actually join up to, is it your early 40s now? It was like somewhere in your mid 30s, but I think you can actually join up to like 41. I don't know. I can't remember, but it was definitely, older than you would think to, join the military for the first time. And obviously you have to be 18. I think you can actually join at 17 anyway, but I'm also curious. So the parachute regiment, the paratroopers, are they known to have the toughest training? I think he just said that. I think in the U.S. that would probably be the Navy SEALs, if I'm not mistaken. Would the training be similar to that? I don't know if they do much with water, but so far it definitely looks really intense, to say the least.
The paratroopers that I met in Afghanistan, they kind of stood out to me because they were more braver and they were like going in first for anything. And that kind of attracts you that, yes, I want to be part of that regiment and I want to be part of that pride wearing that maroon beret.
If you cannot fucking stab a fucking standing still dummy, how are you supposed to kill someone who wants to kill you? Do you understand?
Very true, man.
Yes, Corporal! Advance! Fucking hell, Joe! You couldn't scare fucking girl guides! Bit of fucking aggression! You're about to kill the enemy!
They're very scary, but if you don't mess around, you won't get a slice. But you don't want to piss them off. They're paratroopers. They're naturally very scary blokes when prodded.
Get fucking up here now!
Definitely looks like they're trained to be that way, for sure.
Running now! Get on it! Get through it, Joe! Joe! These people want to send you back to your family in a fucking box!
It is quite sort of mentally and emotionally battering. It's not in a way that people, say, watching this or on Civvy Street would think. You definitely have to live it and experience it to really understand, because so many people sort of serving and veterans talked to me beforehand, it's a mental game, and I thought, right, just keep going. But it's so much more than that, and I don't think people will realise until they come here and experience it.
Get in, Nathan! Get in!
I can imagine that.
In front of you! Get in!
Never be a paratrooper if you are not more aggressive than this.
Joe, this is where the metal meets the fucking meat. Both of you fucking need to take a hard fucking look at yourselves. Is this the profession that you want, Joe?
Yes, Corporal!
Well, we'll see again. Let's go. Back to the start. You're both going again.
Get away! Get down to that gate! No! Corporal! I can't run.
Can't.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, use this as a rest period, okay? Done the shit before. Let's go. Keep walking, mate. Describe that to me.
Fucking horrid. Disappointing. Fucking... Trying to fucking run. Fucking can't.
Wow. All right, man. That looked really intense. To me, I feel like it would be more mentally intense than necessarily physically intense. Although, obviously, you can tell, trying to crawl through trenches and, using that bayonet over and over again, I'm sure countless times during one of these exercise trainings, I'm sure that's very physically demanding, but the mental stress of having someone in your face constantly, yelling at you, telling you to be more aggressive, telling you to, you got to do better. And, it definitely takes it takes a special type of personality to be able to do that. It really does. Not everybody, I would say the vast majority of people could not do that. There's plenty of people that could probably do physically what they're doing. You can train for that. But this is the mental game here, like he was saying, is something I think a lot of people, they could try to train for, but it's just not something you really train for. And you can't even comprehend how it's going to feel until you're actually there and going through it. I'd love to see more training like this. I'd like to see more of just the British military in general. I don't know all the different branches of the British military. Obviously, you got the Army, and the Parachute Regiment is part of the Army, but you obviously have your Navy, and I didn't know you guys actually had a Marines. I didn't even know that, I'd like to know all the different branches, like to see the different training and things like this. And obviously, this has to be boot camp because they're talking about, the civilians are come in and they're all called Joe to break down their civilian identities and stuff like that. I think that makes a lot of sense, like I said earlier, that, but all in all, guys, didn't really get this is a really short video, so obviously I couldn't see, really what a full, day of training or a full period of time they're in training looks like, but it gives me an idea of how aggressive they're trying to get people to be. It makes sense. If you are not aggressive in this line of work, you very well, if you very well could lose your life, or you could cost one of your fellow soldiers to lose their lives as well. And so it makes sense that you have to be aggressive, and they have to train you to be aggressive. But yeah, I joined this video. Please feel free to drop comments about other videos like this, anything about the British military I'd like to see. So feel free to leave links in the comments if you have them. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Till next time, guys. Peace.